Okay, today guys, I'm going to be taking it a step further from my original um, simple basic inventory where we just move stuff around and, you know, take the button, move it from here. Well, it's not actually a button, I think it's a sprite, but you get the gist and things. It still has this, but it's not as difficult to do. You'll have to do code to, you know, get that out of the way, but I think most of that's probably just due to being in the editor, so I'm not really too worried about it. If we did a build and stuff, it may not even be a problem, so I kind of ignore that one for now because it's more of a mouse movement thing. But as you can see, we're getting this little log at the end, but that's what it does. We can move it from here, we can move it there. If we drop it somewhere in here, it automatically goes in the inventory. And it still does the automatic go to the inventory when you just drag it off and take it here. I like it that way because if I wanted to de-equip everything really quickly for my guy, I can just go over here, bloop, 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 really, really fast. Change armor or whatever. Because this panel right here is just temporary anyway. Just to get our functions working. So, before we dive right in and everything else, I'll let you guys know I try to put out, I'm going to be putting out some more content over this. I think in the next few days, if I can talk. And, you know, just in general, just try to do a better job as a content creator. But some of this stuff is a lot of research and prep time, so. But remember to like, hit subscribe, and smash that bell because YouTube is really weird. So let's dive right in and see how this all works. So we have our debug.log and everything, so we know stuff's going on and everything. Well, nothing's really changed. We got our null panel, but now we got a logic panel. Like, what should it do? And that's the whole point of when I hear the word logic, I think of some type of system that does something. Sorting, anything to do with just basically what it is that thing supposed to do. On this one, it's supposed to go straight to bag space. And this is a script, okay? And notice how my little hot stop here, which I know is spelled incorrectly and everything. I really don't even care, you know. But we know what it's supposed to do, right? Well, anyway, I separated it from other stuff. And the reason why I did this is because this does everything that I need it to. And that's one of the reasons. If we go over to here, I got one over here too. I probably have one, no, I've got a button item type thing, which we have another item script, which is later on. This is how you determine the logic between one to the other. Just a little hint on what it's supposed to do. So if we look at this bag space, this is a script and it's got a bool value, needs updated, okay? So when this bool value is true, it will get updated and then turn it to false. So everything is done that it needs to do. So if we had logic that, and the reason why I called it bag space is anytime that it's inside the inventory, which is just in general your backpack or however, it's going to execute this kind of code, okay? Which we are going to look at in just a second. So this update happens, and it would be nice to be an update. And we see this queue right here. Well, this queue is there for a very specific reason. A, let's say hypothetically I want to add a whole bunch of items in my inventory all at once, like just smash it with the list. Well, the way it would be set up if we didn't have a bool value of it's needed is it would update and then re-go, update, go, update, go, update, go. Wouldn't it be nice to just smash it in there, then update afterwards? And that's why I separated it with a type bool value. Because if I wanted to do a list of this can't be done. But if I come down here and do this, and this is completely logical, okay? This is completely logical. Take the update, okay? Put it down here. Just move her down. Okay, then we had this in queue. Okay, what are we in queuing? We're in queuing, let's say, an array. Wait. This doesn't do an array. Bloop. Okay. And we'll put this just so this will go legit. You do not have a public override. That's right. So this will be a regular void for now, just to display what I'm talking about. So now we would do a regular for loop, right? That's pretty legit. Oh, wrong button. Okay, if true, well, what is true? For, why did it give me that for loop? If true. For int equals I, length, except it's not linked, it's object. Actually, yes, it is linked, because we're not doing a list. So now we would put I here, like so. And then after the iteration, we tell the system we need a update. Now this is perfectly legit. We get a list. This is pretty separated. I mean, like I said, we would change the bool value, then do this, then a bool value, and this. So basically this update would run for like a very, very long time, versus just basically spam everything into the in queuing. And see how this is doing updating dot count. That is coming from the queue. So every single time the queue would have something in it, it would run this. This happens one a frame. So hypothetically, not to try to be a butthead, but this happens once a frame, okay? This happens in a single frame right here. So everything would be in the queue, and it would start doing its job. 1 frame update, 2 frame update, 3 update frame rate. Okay? I don't want to loop right here, because all this does when it goes to our bag is unequip it from our character. So if your game runs easily, what, maybe 30 frames at the worst possible case, you could unequip 30 items before the player would even know, you know. And this runs all the time anyway. Well, that's the idea once we go further. This would actually run all the time in every frame. So that's one reason why this bool value needs updated is here. So this would go in here, check this, okay? If this goes, hey, it's false, then it just skips all this. I don't want this to spam anywhere near in the update at all, because this is an evaluation. Well, if it doesn't need updated, why the heck would you check the other values for, hey, is there anything in the queue? Well, obviously you wouldn't, because it just doesn't make sense to check the queue when there's no update needed. So once it reaches everything out of the queue, it does this else statement, which is done needs updated equals false. It breaks it out and just goes update, and it's basically an empty update. It does nothing. Well, it could do something later on, or we just do some type of event that triggers the update, but for now it would just be empty, evaluating this update, and that's it. So enqueuing is done. Now you're probably thinking, well, what's this inheritance here for? In general, you don't really need to use it, but I have it. Well, actually you kind of do. When we go from bag to like player equipment, like here, it's an inventory player thing. Okay, so bags extends the inventory action. Okay, so in the bag space we would have these logics, so, and you're probably thinking, well, what's this supposed to do? Well, action go is an inventory action. Okay, so it actually pulls out the inventory item, which basically is an object script, and it tells it to do inventory bag, which inventory bag does the spawning and despawning for our weapons. Okay, so if I needed to put it in my inventory, well, the player can't have it freaking on him. He needs some way of telling it, right? This basically lets me do that. So kind of the inventory action script is using inheritance, and that's just because I want all scripts to be able to just do a command to it. Basically, the hotspot, guess what, is an inventory action, but it does different actions. It does it for the logic panel. The logic panel knows that base class, and it can do a command in there, action go, whatever the logic panel is programmed to do, which basically is bag space. So what's it do? When it gets thrown in here, it does an update, and then it enqueues, and that's its whole job. Which we don't do any parenting or anything else. This does it. Remember our little hotspot here? It does the parenting, and then it tells it to do logic. But you're probably like, if logic panel does not equal null, you always want to check little things like that, because you might have something that is broken, or you don't want it to do something, so you want to basically just block it. Okay, because A, either you made a mistake, or B, you haven't created a script to do something yet. So this does the get component, And we always just get the component. We always try to get a component. Then we compare if we have it. Now this is redundant right here. We don't actually need to do that check. But I just have it here, and you know, something could go wrong. So, and it's not a very hard command at all to do. And it's taken action does not equal null. So if it's there, it's cool. And the panel, which we already know is there, but I'm double checking it, which I don't have to. So I'll delete it. Doesn't matter. Not going to hurt anything. And then logic panel does its action, which you know is bag. But it can also be on player equip, which does nothing at the moment. Because that will be the interlinking point where we need to have access to the player itself. Like either some kind of value needs to be changed or just something in general. So, but it is an inventory action because it makes sense to me. When I hear inventory action, I hear my inventory is doing something. What is it doing? It's an action. Where if I see inventory, it's too general, too broad. It doesn't tell me what's supposed to happen or what it's actually. It tells me what it is, but it doesn't say anything else. And then this is the button thing. Yeah, this is the button thing, which is in my simple inventory where you just move stuff around and doesn't do anything else really. But you see why I separated the hotspot to this is because, and two, here's one of the reasons why I also didn't make it like special scripter. See this null? This null goes straight into the inventory box. If this didn't exist right here, then our button wouldn't know what to do. Okay, so basically let's do a little test right here. Okay, backspace none, which you know all I did was clear it. It went on another screen, which is kind of dumb, but okay. So we take our M16, we go over to the bags, it knows what to do. So watch when I drop this though. It just parents it to that because it knows what to do with the transform, okay? But it didn't do any updates at all. So our check is actually working still, okay? But it's not doing any updates, which is kind of a bummer. This won't do an update even though the null is there, and that is because our player equipment one has no functions in it whatsoever right now. We're not telling it to do anything, and that's due to it's so like integrated into another script on the player side that's going to tell it to spawn its weapons or despawn it. So it deserves its own little section in a video. Okay? Now, I know this might be a little slow or sluggish, but I kind of had to explain this separation because, like you guys already know, you can put a lot more into one of these other scripts. You can easily do it. You can use tags or anything else. This is my way of doing it. This is how I would do it if I was coding a game. I would put a queue in just so I wouldn't spam like certain things like really big time. This item script could actually be in another thing too. like you can combine this into one big old script and have a big old mess, but nah, no, nah, I'm not doing all that. That's just weird to me anyway, because the item script is going to be basically what's going to spawn and despawn it for our player. And then I'm going to have some type of managing script where that's all it's supposed to do is manage the weapons. Because that's basically why it exists. You know, I mean, not to be a butthead, but that's exactly how it's supposed to go anyway. To me. But yeah, if you guys like, if you guys think it sucked, smash that it sucked button for the good old Yub Tubs. And thanks for watching. This is War, over and out.